All right, time for us to do business now. It's Friday. We're getting you all the updates that you need to catch. This afternoon, let's just quickly look at some stories from the maritime sector. And here, the African Ports Authorities have injected over $30 billion into the development of infrastructure in the lands of 2 years. So this afternoon we'll get the details in the maritime industry. We'll try to find out what is coming to the ports actually. We'll try to get the investments coming into our port sector. And this afternoon my colleague Josephine Frimpong reports that the investment package is in line with the development ports capacity to meet growing demand for the maritime industry.
Within the last 2 years, South African port authorities have invested $2.3 billion into transforming Port Elizabeth. Kenya has also injected $22.5 billion into reclaiming land from the sea from Lamu Port. $25 million was spent on building port capacity and infrastructure for the maritime community at Port Nacala in Mozambique. Ghana would be spending $1.8 billion to expand the Tema port. Arguably, these capital-intensive projects have not come cheap.
If we do not increase our capacity, there will be congestion in our ports. Terminals at the quayside, tracks, and rail lines, if they are not available, there will be problems. Ships will stay much longer at the seaside, at the berths, and therefore there is a need for us that as a country, and importantly for West Africa, we try to see how we can harness the opportunities and enhance trade and investment that will lead to port infrastructure development for all of us. Unfortunately, port infrastructure is very expensive.
Most West African ports are striving to become the preferred hub for trade, yet without port development, trade and revenue could be lost. Port authorities from 24 maritime countries in Africa, Europe and Far East are in the country to find out ways of financing port infrastructure through private-public partnership.
We are indeed facing several challenges on this continent, and of course hoping that with our current ongoing port expansion facilities and development, and of course the acquisition of modern equipment necessary for world-class activities, that all these individual countries here will try and help us better appreciate the recent advancements in technology and what we really need to do to take our business to the next level.
Stakeholders want banks and lending institutions to partner with Maritime Authority to develop the infrastructure.
We'll now move on to the aviation industry. Now, if you patronize the domestic airlines, then definitely this one could be a good one for you, especially if you're en route Kumasi. Now, domestic carriers have started landing at Kumasi Airport at night. This follows the rehabilitation of the runway and installation of an airfield ground lighting system at the airport. A report by Benjamin Aidu.
The Kumasi Airport was previously opened to commercial traffic from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. local time due to the absence of a ground lighting system. The rehabilitation works at the 1,981-meter long runway and installation of the ground landing lighting system has made it possible for domestic carriers to land at the Kumasi Airport at night.
We are ready as an airport. We are happy that finally we can do night operations from here. What it means is that the passengers have a flexibility. They can travel at any time that they want to.
The Kumasi Airport manager, Kojo Ebrifa Sarkodie, assured passengers of their safety.
Foreign object debris are always around. We need to pick them. It has impact on the jet engines. So we have to get clear overview of all these things so that they can expand the area and then we have a good flight at night.
Some passengers shared the experience.
My first time on flight, night flight. This is my first time on an evening flight. I am happy the airport has fixed the ground lighting.
Had it not been this flight, maybe it would have just not been able to come this far. And we are very happy that we are part of this team.
quite an interesting development from the Ashanti region. You should be boarding your flight at night, probably. Just before we go, some quick feeling on our commodities market, some of the updates we're getting. Well, just at close of day yesterday, crude oil price was hovering around $48. It's seen again on the market just in and around this hour. It's inched up to $49.55 on the international market. Well, around this time also, would people want to invest in the precious metal? Indeed, keeping their investments in a safe haven. We have gold pegged currently at $1,263 an ounce on the international market. Well, cocoa and other commodities are also fairly stable on the international market. Later in the day, we'll throw more lights on some of these developments. My name is Kweku Tim, and it's always a pleasure joining you with some updates of business stories. We're coming back shortly with some sports updates.